Coming up on News Live at 6, where all these warm Syracuse days fall on the all-time list and whether or not we'll be expecting any more record-breaking days in the future.
Plus, how students are examining gender bias on one of the world's most popular websites.
And new progress is underway tonight on the Micron computer chip plant in Clay. Citrus TV News Live at 6 starts right now.
This is Citrus TV News Live at 6, your campus news leader.
Welcome to News Live at 6. I'm Max Williams, in for Peyton Spellisy tonight.
And I'm Zach Richter. We'll get to that news on Micron tonight in just a bit, but we're going to begin with a Citrus TV weather alert as heavy rain continues to hit central New York. Our Spencer Congel joins us now live on the Citrus TV weather deck with the latest timing and track of the storm. Hey, Spencer.
Hey, Zach. Yeah, the rain has just started to pick up a little bit. It is definitely raining a bit harder than it was just about 10 minutes ago. Right now, still pretty warm at around 50 degrees. Not too cold, definitely warm for March. Moving to around central New York, it's raining everywhere. We're seeing this pretty heavy rain all around central New York. Maybe not as heavy as here. Anywhere from around 43 degrees over in the west in Rochester to up to around 51 in the east. And so moving into later tonight, this rain will carry through until about 1 a.m. Temperatures will drop a little bit, but not too far. We'll see a low of about 39 degrees tomorrow morning. A little chilly, but not cold enough to see some snow. And of course, we will see this rain that we're seeing right now outside die down a little bit until around 11, somewhere between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. tomorrow. And it should be gone until around Saturday or Sunday. That's it for the weather for now. Max and Zach back inside where it's definitely much drier.
Okay, Spencer, thank you. New details now as Wikipedia is the biggest encyclopedia in human history. But according to some experts, it has a problem. Citrus TV's Tyler Aldano explains how one group on campus is looking to change that with the help of students.
To Wikipedia editor Rosie Stevenson Goodnight, the website's gender bias was easy to spot, even before there was an official number.
Like you'd go to the category for biologists, all these men's names, then a woman, all these men's name, woman, all these men's name. You could tell, but we didn't have a number. Now we had a number.
That number, 84%. That's how many biographical articles were written about men. The amount of articles written about women, however, were just under 16%. The reasoning for this divide comes down to sources. To create a Wikipedia article, there needs to be at least 3 references. And Goodnight says women had a lot less published about them compared to men.
I could knock out 3 or 4 a day, every day, 365 days of the year, because there's so much information about men.
That's where Professor Lori Brown comes in. She, with the help of Women in Design, started a wikithon here at Syracuse. She utilized the library's resources in order to help populate the website with more female articles. The event focused on architects, an extremely male-dominated subject of the site. To Brown, though, the event is more than just editing some text.
Trying to instill upon them to think about who they're learning about, and do they look like them? Do they look like the broader population?
Each of the 60 students spent time that night writing a new article or improving a pre-existing one. For some, it was the first they had even heard about the Wikipedia gender gap.
So I feel it's really interesting to see how the collaborator, which is the male architect, are on the wiki page, but the female collaborator are not.
According to Goodnight, events like these are vital to making lasting change on the website.
Huge impact. The way of the future, the present and the future would be more of that at the university level.
With over 6 million articles, making change on a level of Wikipedia can feel daunting, but with the help of Lori and the students here, they're looking to make that change one click at a time. Tyler Aldano, Citrus TV News.
Tyler, thanks for your report tonight. Well, it's been 11 years in the making. SU's Chancellor Kent Severud has been awarded the TIAA Institute Hesburgh Award for Leadership Excellence. The honor is awarded annually to a current college or university chancellor for outstanding leadership and broad impact on higher education. The American Council on Education has praised Severud for his efforts to bettering the lives of SU veteran and military-connected students.
And applications are now out for 2 entrepreneurship prizes. The Raymond Van Drand Fund and Hunter Books Watson Spirit of Entrepreneurship Award will give out a prize total of $30,000. Individual students or teams can pitch ideas for products, services, or creative ventures. Applications are due 1 month from now, with the competitions expected to be held a week after. Max.
And the Syracuse chapter of Phi Kappa Phi is ready to relaunch. The Honor Society disbanded in 2014 after reorganizations left the chapter without a leader. The society is one of the nation's oldest and most selective. Initiation into the organization is limited to the top 10% of senior and graduate students based on academic standing. The chapter president saying today, quote, as the university emphasizes the value of interdisciplinary collaboration, this felt like the right opportunity to build a forum bringing together outstanding students in diverse fields. New members will be accepted by the end of this month.
And the city of Rome is getting a new investment from the state to modernize its bus routes. Citrus TV's Dylan Brendel explains how the new way of getting around town has some residents frustrated.
When in Rome, it might be hard to catch a bus, but with a new $1 million state grant, buses will run more frequently to popular spots like the airport and the hospital. But the real focus is on a rideshare style app called Move.
The app seems simple enough to use. You just download the app from the App Store, and then it works kind of like Uber or Lyft. You input your contact info and a payment method, drop your PIN, and you're on your way. It runs between 6 to 6 on weekdays and 9 to 6 on weekends. Rides to the hub right behind me are $1, and rides anywhere else inside the zone are $4.
Centro says it's a convenient method of transportation for residents of the Copper City, but not everyone is as convinced. Mashawn Baines tried using the service by calling over the phone, but was stuck on hold for more than 30 minutes.
We're sorry for the delay.
She says it was better the old way.
So I don't like it. I think it's inconvenient. I wish they had the buses back.
Another rider, Brenda Lands, worries about her privacy.
Because the bus drivers would know my location, and if it was a different driver and they came to pick me up at my address, I would have a problem.
We stood at the hub where these buses come and go. For about 30 minutes, 4 riders walked up to the bus, had a conversation with the driver, but never got on. One reason may be a disconnect between who rides the bus and who's comfortable with the app. 65% of Uber users, an app that looks a lot like Move, are 16 to 34 years old. In Centro's most recent published data, which only covers the city of Syracuse, 52% of riders are over 35 and 20% are over 55. We reached out to Centro for comment, but did not receive a reply. Dylan Brendel, Citrus TV News.
Dylan, thank you so much. Well, the Central New York is continuing its trek to meet the state's renewable energy goals. Citrus TV reporter Katie Fonganza has the details on what factors could stand in the way of that.
Wildlife is probably not the first thing you think of when you see these. However, animals nearby don't seem to be disturbed when a solar farm is being built in their backyard. Central New York Regional and Planning Board Energy Program Manager Chris Carrick says that large developers must work with multiple state offices before beginning construction.
Both will do things like coordinate with federal agencies, such as U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, to identify the presence of endangered species.
According to the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority, the State Environmental Quality Review Act, or SEQR, helps solar farms that generate under 25 megawatts. But sometimes the unregulated electricity comes from community solar, which is typically at a fraction of that. To put this in perspective, 1 megawatt can power roughly 750 homes.
When solar farms are approved in New York State, several environmental agencies are kept in mind for wildlife. Like these 11 acres behind me, this used to be the town's landfill, and now it's DeWitt's solar array and a grassland bird sanctuary.
A University of Montana wildlife professor, Erim Gomez, says his concerns as the battle between renewable energy and maintaining habitats persists.
To be high enough so larger animals like deer or elk can move freely through the landscape. I would also want to make sure that there was sunlight hitting the kind of interstitial spaces, the spaces between the solar panels.
Carrick says he's seen the strategy used to ensure that wildlife and crops still thrive within solar farms, but is sometimes up to choice. Katie Fongbangsa, Citrus TV News.
Okay, Katie, thank you. Now we turn to the latest on Micron's planned semiconductor plant here in Clay. Has taken an important step forward. National Grid is asking state regulators for permission to run extra high voltage power lines to the Micron site. The application signals planning for Micron's infrastructure is in full swing. The company is also working to bring a high volume of natural gas to the site. The project still needs several approvals from federal, state, and local governments for construction.
Well, Micron isn't the only company looking to develop land in Syracuse. Listen to this. A new cycling and fitness studio is opening this month. Spoke Cycle and Fitness says they specialize in high-energy, full-body workouts for all fitness levels. The studio will host a variety of classes, including rhythm cycling and mobility classes. The studio owner says she wants customers to remember, or to forget, excuse me, they're actually working out. Spoke Cycle and Fitness will open in 10 days with the cost for 3 classes starting at $30.
Heading down the highway, the owners of Tully's Good Times are proposing a drive-through location in Clay. Now, the plan is for Tully's to take over the now vacant Workouts Health Club on Route 31. The proposition has received some criticism, with some residents expressing concern over the potential traffic the new drive-through would bring. A Tully's representative expects to present the proposal to the town board later this month. Now, if approved, construction is planned to be started and finished in less than a month.
Coming up, New York Governor Kathy Hochul is raising security numbers. Find out how and why next.
He drops out, leaving just Trump and Biden. Hear what she had to say right after the break.
Welcome to an excellent episode of Live from Studio B.
If you see news happening on campus, in Syracuse, or across the nation, call the CitrusTV newsroom, 315-443-1177, or tweet at CitrusTV News, your campus news leader.
I said, get the surging crime in the state of New York under control. First of all, we have to eradicate the fear and unease that was affecting so many of our communities. We also need to restore New Yorkers' sense of safety and security.
That was New York Governor Kathy Hochul speaking at the state police headquarters Monday morning.
And here to break down her crime policy within New York State budget is CitrusTV political reporter Ben Bassick. Ben, good evening.
Thanks, guys. As Hochul looks ahead at her 2026 re-election, she's still trying to rectify her strong stance on crime. Combating gun violence and retail theft have been at the core of her playbook. Seizures in the state have gone up to 160% since Hochul took office. Additional emphasis on red flag laws and local firearm violence elimination programs drove down gun violence by 28% and car theft by 19% right here in central New York, specifically in Albany County. In Hochul's first 2 state budget processes, when her policy-making power was at its peak, she pushed through more street policing, more police surveillance, more prosecutors, and tougher penalties. Breaking today, Hochul announced she will deploy 1,000 state police and National Guard members into the New York City subway system to conduct bag checks. All these policies found funding in the governor's 2025 fiscal year budget. I heard more about her crime crackdown firsthand at Hochul's Our New York, Our Future campaign in East Syracuse last month. Let's take a listen.
And so I said my top priority as the governor of the state of New York is to make sure that New Yorkers are safe. And over the last 2 years since I've been governor, we've driven down violent crime. In Syracuse, the city saw a dramatic decrease in violent crimes, shootings, fatalities. Shootings down 37% just in 2 years. Murders down 25%. That's remarkable progress, but you can't grow complacent. That's why I'm continuing to invest $347 million in fighting crime and taking gun violence down.
New York's $233 billion plan allocates $40 million to combat retail theft, $40 more to domestic violence, and $35 million to hate crimes. Now, it's time to see if all that funding yields results. For Citrus TV News, I'm Ben Bassick.
Okay, Ben, thank you. Now to the latest in the race for president. Former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley says she's dropping out.
Yeah, this is huge. Her decision makes a Trump versus Biden rerun almost inevitable. Our political reporter Luke Radel has the groundbreaking story tonight.
Here we go again. Trump versus Biden. The presidential rematch is set for 2024 as Trump's last remaining Republican rival Nikki Haley drops out of the race.
I am filled with the gratitude for the outpouring of support we've received from all across our great country. But the time has now come to suspend my campaign.
Haley's announcement comes just hours after Donald Trump won all but one of the Super Tuesday states, complicating her path to the nomination.
In all likelihood, Donald Trump will be the Republican nominee when our party convention meets in July. I congratulate him and wish him well.
But Haley notably declined to endorse Donald Trump, her former boss.
It is now up to Donald Trump to earn the votes of those in our party and beyond it who did not support him.
At a Pizza and Politics event today in Maxwell, political science professor Mark Brockway said that could spell trouble for the former president.
If all of Nikki Haley's voters don't vote for Donald Trump, Trump is going to be in a big amount of trouble.
It's clear that after nominating Donald Trump for 3 consecutive elections, that the Republican Party has gone from the party of Lincoln to that of Donald Trump. Reporting from Maxwell, Luke Radel, Citrus TV News.
Thank you, Luke, for your coverage. Coming up on News Live at 6, I'll have your full 5-day forecast and that March look back, I promise. Stay with us.
Welcome to my house. Lately, not my happy place. Everybody's pretty tired of each other. The parents were not themselves. My little brothers were morphing into small creatures. The walls were closing in. Clearly a case of too much family, too close, 24/7. And there's a lot of that going around right now. If this sounds like your house, try going someplace new. YourLifeYourVoice.org. You'll find lots of ideas to help you handle the family stresses of being confined to close quarters. YourLifeYourVoice.org. It might not get you out of the house, but it could help you find a little more breathing room.
From the Citrus TV Weather Center, this is SU's most accurate weather forecast.
Welcome back to News Live at 6. Our 5-day forecast is looking a bit interesting today. Tomorrow and Friday, it should be nice and sunny a little bit. Still pretty warm, 60 degrees on Friday. We're going to get rid of that rain that we saw all day today. But Saturday and Sunday, it's looking like it might be coming back. Still pretty warm, though. We're not getting too far down. Monday, though, is where things are looking a little bit glim. We've got a 40% chance of snow, a low of 26 degrees. So be careful on Monday. You might need to bring your boots back out. But I got some good news. It will be getting a bit warmer throughout next week, so we won't be seeing that snow for too long. Now, if we take a look here, I've got our average temperatures in March in the past. So here at the bottom, you can see our average high and our average low for every month of March since 1970. And you can see we've got a high of 40 and a low of 26. Now, this March so far, our average high has been 54 degrees, which compared to the average for the past 50 years is pretty high, and even compared to 2023 and, of course, the past 10 and 20 years. 2014, a particularly cold year here at a 35-degree high and a 17 low. 2004 and 2023, pretty similar, relatively warm, but 2024 has been a pretty warm March, and based on the forecast now, it's looking to stay that way in the 50s throughout the month of March. That's all I've got for weather for now. Zach and Max, back to you.
Spencer, thank you. I like to hear that. I love that warm weather. Well, if you're planning on driving home for spring break like myself, you might want to think about carpooling. A AAA report shows gas prices increased by 21 cents since last month.
And unfortunately, those prices are here to stay. A AAA spokesperson says March and April bring higher gas prices as demand rises. Aside from spring break, prices have increased ahead of the annual switch to a higher grade of gasoline known as Summer Blend. Now, speaking of gas, is Syracuse men's basketball out of gas? Tyler Aitken, what's coming up in sports?
Well, you tossed it right to me there because, Zach, it's time to talk about one of the most iconic duos in all of sports, Syracuse men's basketball and the NCAA tournament bubble. SU visited Clemson last night to close its regular season and try to break into the bracket. Stick with us.
They took over my bedroom. Come on, come on. Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. Dad! You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
And now, your CitrusTV Sports Report.
It's almost the best time of the year, March Madness. Welcome into sports. I'm Tyler Richter. They say March comes in like a lion and goes out like a lamb, but for Syracuse men's basketball, the month actually came in like a tiger, a Clemson tiger. SU has been on the outside looking in on most projected NCAA tournament brackets, but the Orange had a chance to capture a big resume-boosting win last night. Syracuse visited Clemson with a quad one win on the line, and if that doesn't get you excited, keep in mind that the Tigers have former Orange star Joe Girard on the roster, so there was revenge on the line too. And this game started early, not with Joe Girard, but J.J. Starling of the Orange to put SU on top. But on the other end, there was a quick response from P.J. Hall, the big man for the Tigers, and he actually hit another one right here. He dominated inside as well, finished with 21 first-half points. Now, Syracuse did stay in the game thanks to Quadir Copeland with the spin cycle. But by the end of the half, thanks to JG3 finally showing up, it was a 12-point Clemson lead at the break. And in the second half, the Tigers really started to pull away with it. Joe Girard again from way downtown, almost maybe even past the Clemson logo, hits a three. And then another one of the big men, Ian Shefflin, hitting it from the top of the key. 3 after 3 after 3 for the Tigers in half number 2. Hunter getting involved as well from the far wing. And who's going to hit the dagger for the Tigers? Of course, Joe Girard with the and 1-3. Tigers win it. Syracuse got dominated on the inside on top of just threes. Clemson center P.J. Hall, like I said, had 21 points in the first half alone. And by the end of the game, the Tigers tallied 38 points in the paint, hitting over half of their shots in the process. For the Orange, guard Judah Mintz still got his, putting up his 16th 20-point performance of the year. So after the loss, Syracuse dropped from 4th to 6th in the ACC standings, but the Orange could finish anywhere from 5th to 7th based on some other conference games this Saturday. If SU can eke out a top 5 placement, that would be its best ranking in a decade. While the men's basketball team is done with its regular season, Syracuse women's lacrosse is in the midst of an early season gauntlet. Entering yesterday, the Orange were 3-2, including a loss to number 1 Northwestern and a win over number 2 Notre Dame. Last night brought upon another ranked matchup. This time, the foe was number 12 Stony Brook. After 4 back-and-forth quarters, it was still tied 12-12. That meant sudden death overtime. You score, you win. So, who came out on top? Well, if you were hoping it was going to be Syracuse, it wasn't. A shot from the right wing, Ali Macera gets the goal to go for the Seawolves. They confirm it afterwards, and that is the second overtime loss this year already for Syracuse. A tough showing from the Orange, fall to 3-3 on the season. Ali Macera didn't just score the game winner, though, also had 3 goals in regulation. That shouldn't be too surprising. She's second in the nation in goals per game. So like I said, second OT loss of the year for SU, who also fell to Maryland in double OT a few weeks ago. And a 3-3 start for SU is its worst record through 6 games since 2011. For Sports, I'm Tyler Aitken. Back to you, Zach and Max at the desk.
Tyler, thank you. When we come back, one last look at your weather.
STEM is precise, no margin for error.
Dare to forget that. Dare to have fun with it. Get weird with it. Dare to send those old STEM theories flying past the neighbor's house into outer space. Dare to program something internet-breaking, record-breaking. Dare to blow their minds. Dare to learn the difference between sedimentary and metamorphic rock. Go find those rocks. Dare to keep daring. Dare to STEM. Check out She Can STEM to get started.
Now, as we move into tomorrow morning, temperatures will be getting up a little bit to around 54. That rain, of course, is going to stop in the middle of the night, and it should be a bit of a nice sunny day tomorrow.
Okay, Spencer, thanks so much. Now, over to Marshall Street. A photo of a Five Guys receipt has gone viral on X.
Yeah, take a look at your screen. This is the receipt that shows a bacon cheeseburger, fries, and a soda come out to a total of $24. Yes, that's right. The post kicked off a discussion that has generated over 12,000 comments on the social media platform. Well, I'm not very proud to say this, but I do love Five Guys. I probably have it once a week. But the funny thing is that I never look at the receipt until today. I looked at it, I looked back at it, and it was over $20. It was ridiculous.
It's crazy.
I do like Five Guys, but I try to limit myself because of that receipt price. To watch the wallet just a little bit.
It is just so expensive. It is so overpriced. But that's Citrus TV News Live at 6 for this Wednesday.
Don't forget you can follow us on X and Instagram at CitrusTV News. Now for the entire Citrus TV's news team, I'm Max Williams.
And I'm Zach Richter. Have a great night, Syracuse.